talking about.
Okay, go down. It says اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. Do you see it?
نفس الآية.
That's the same. Yeah, the same. If you go down, it says, today I completed my favor upon you and your religion to you, and I accepted Islam for you. Okay. Now, this is a verse was given to Muhammad. Muhammad, he said this verse as the last verse in his life. Where we find it? In chapter 5, verse number 3. This verse in here doesn't make sense, because this should be at the last one at the Quran, because today I completed my favor upon you, completed Islam for you, and accepted Islam for you. So when they put it there,
no,
what they did, they made a damage to the Quran.
Here's the thing: you have no say to say that this will be at the last, because the Quran is made up of many verses.
Lady, I'm not the one who's saying that. The hadith say clearly this is the last verse was given to Muhammad. Now, this verse makes sense only at the end of the Quran. He completed the Quran. Quran is completed. Quran is perfected, and now he accepts Islam for them. He's done. He did his message. He's going to go.
It's not a story. It's not an introduction and a conclusion. It's the Quran. There's many verses from everywhere. And even though it was revealed to him last, even though it was revealed to him last,
you are right.
You don't know why it's in this specific order.
Just wait. You see, you have to make me beat you on hold again. It's not a story. This is why you have to put it as Allah gave it. Isn't it Allah who gave it? Allah, He made it the last one. Who is the one who dare after Muhammad's death to play with it and make it in the first of the Quran, which doesn't make sense? This verse makes sense only at the end of the book. I'm not the one saying that. Allah, He gave it as a last verse. So you Muslims should keep it as a last verse. If Allah gave it last verse, it should be the last verse. Who is the one is changing the location of verses? The Muslims. It's Uthman ibn Affan. This is why the Muslims killed him, because he did play with the Quran. Allah did not give it to you this way, and this verse will not make sense in there, because now after I read this verse, okay, Quran is completed and Islam is completed and perfected, and there is more than 109 verses or chapter after it. Very wrong. It doesn't make sense. So
what doesn't make sense is why you think Jesus is God. That's what doesn't make sense.
You see, now you're running away from the topic. It makes sense for me.
Yeah, okay. I know. I'm listening to what you're saying, and my response to that is again Allahu Alam, because no, I understand what you're saying. I understand that maybe whatever happened, the order has been.
Do we go by maybe when it's come to God?
Or different?
It's very clear. Listen, it's very clear. The first verse was given to Muhammad. It's not in the first verse, and the last verse was given to Muhammad is not the last verse. And you are telling me the Quran was the same? I can show you. Umar ibn Khattab, he said the Quran is 27,000 words. The Quran today is not even 300,000. Which means more than 70% of the Quran is gone. As an example, the verse of stoning to death was in the Quran. Where we can find it now?
Which verse?
Stoning to death. Stoning
to death?
Yeah, stoning to death.
You don't think it's in the Quran?
It is not. Show it to me.
Surprising that you're asking me to show it to you. I would think you'd be hunting for it.
It is not there. Lady, it's not there. I'm asking you to show it to me because it's not there.
I know I read an ayah about stoning to death, but I don't know if it's in this version.
Lady, this is in the hadith.
Online. Let me see.
This is in the hadith. In Sahih al-Bukhari, Umar, he said, I'm afraid that time will go and people will say the verses of stoning to death, they are not in the holy book no more. Who is saying that? Umar ibn Khattab. So there are verses in the Quran, they are not in the Quran, and even Umar himself at that time complaining, why this verse is not in the Quran? And you can go, let me give you the hadith number, you can take the reference. The book of those who wage war amongst the disbelievers and apostates. Look how nice the book is named. Hadith number 6401, narrated by Ibn Abbas. Who is Ibn Abbas? The cousin of Muhammad. This is very strong hadith. Umar, he said, I am afraid that after a long time has passed, people may say, we do not find the verses of Rajam, between two brackets, stoning to death, in the holy book.
Okay.
Okay,
but that's the reason why we have hadith, is that we don't only follow the Quran, we don't only follow hadith, we follow both. So if we don't find something, if we don't find an answer in the Quran, we go to the hadith. If we don't find an answer in the hadith, we go to the Quran.
It's not in the hadith. It doesn't say, where's the verse?
But there is a rule for stoning to death. Otherwise, we wouldn't follow that in Saudi. Otherwise, we wouldn't have that.
The Quran is not preserved. And actually, Aisha, she said that when the Prophet died, دخل داجن فأكلها. A bit, we don't know, she did not say what dajan mean, an animal. It might be a goat, mostly goats. They are the one who ate papers and things. She said, when we did get busy with the death of the Prophet, a goat or an animal get inside the house and ate the Quran and the chapter of breastfeeding for adult and stoning to death is gone. This is what Aisha is saying, not me. So your Quran been eaten by a goat. Allah could not protect.
How do you know that wasn't? How do you know that wasn't from God? That it was meant to happen by God. How do you know?
Allah want the Quran to be eaten by goat?
You never know. I mean, it's a creation of God. Maybe it was meant to be that way. Maybe Allah.
How you know that the Christians?
Maybe Allah meant everything happens for a reason.
How you know that the Jewish are not changing the book because Allah He want that? What is this? Is an excuse. When you say to me that the Quran is corrupted, not corrupted, here we go. It is corrupted. We showed you changing the verses.
It's not corrupted.
We showed you.
It's not corrupted.
Actually, the Quran for me is not corrupted for sure. You know why? Because you cannot corrupt the corrupt. Quran is a false book from the beginning. But I'm showing you that even the corrupt book of the Quran, which was given to you from Muhammad, is
so you don't even think that it exists? You don't think that Muhammad existed?
It exists.
Do you think that Muhammad existed?
Yeah, Muhammad exists and the Quran exists as a book of Satan. But I am not proving to you the Quran is corrupted because you cannot corrupt the corrupt. You get the point? If something is corrupt from the beginning, I cannot corrupt the corrupt more than the corruption exists already. But I just showed you that a goat eating the Quran, and Allah saying, I'm going to protect the Quran. And what you say to me, how you know that it's not Allah who sent the goat to eat his book? So why He sent the verse? And why He want the goat to eat his verse? Give me a reason. Isn't it better to have it in the Quran so people they can read it?
A goat is innocent. Yeah, he doesn't know better. So you don't know if it was meant to happen or not. Everything happens for a reason. You can't judge that.
Who is the innocent, Allah or the goat?
Why would He send a goat?
Yeah, why Allah send the goat to eat the verse?
Why not?
Why not? Why
it's His creation. He can't control. The goat doesn't know what he's doing. So it's not like a human being ripped the pages. It's not like a human did. If a human did it, then the human knows what he's doing. Then it would be corrupt. But since a goat did it, the goat doesn't know any better.
Okay. Now, if the Muslims they keep the Quran by heart as the Muslim claim, why? Who care if the goat did eat the page? Don't you know the Quran? Why you don't have the verse again?
Why don't we have the verse that the goat took away?
Yeah. If the Muslims says to us, claim that the Quran was kept by heart in their chest, in their heart, correct? Okay. The goat did eat those verses. So what? Write them again.
Again, Allahu A'lam, maybe it wasn't meant to be put. Maybe Allah, didn't want those verses to be
this way. You see, each time we show you that there's something wrong in there. This is mean when the Muslim says to us that the Muslims they remember the Quran by heart, all of it. It's not true. The proof, if it's true, they should write the verses missing. They should put it there, and then the problem is solved. But as you say,
maybe they did.
They did not. Where it is?